This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, joined by Kevin, and we're here giving you the gaming news like we do every single week. Starting off this week, we wanted to talk, and by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube and other places, apologies for the video setup. We are working on some kinks, not the fun kind, and I'll be moving soon, so the setup will kind of work with us on this. I promise you some good content. At least I hope so. Starting off with backwards compatible games, like I said, like we do every single week when we have it. We got Zone of the Enders, the HD collection on Xbox 360, backwards compatible to Xbox One.
So I actually played the Zone of the Enders because it had the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2 on it. I have no idea how those numbers ended up, but I know that I have heard a lot of other people say that exact same thing. So
I wouldn't doubt
it's actually it's a pretty fun Gundam game, especially for the PS2 era. There weren't a whole lot of them, so I like it.
And this is Kojima, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is Hideo Kojima doing something other than Metal Gear, so that's kind of rare. Yeah. And then we got Rumble Roses XX, which is definitely not gratuitous at all. As again, those of you who are watching the video version can clearly tell. It's about wrestling. I don't know what you're talking about. This is all about wrestling and beat 'em ups, and I do. Good.
I do like the counter system because when you bring that in from wrestling, it works a lot better than in fighting games because wrestling is a little bit slower, and so the counters actually look more legit.
Yes.
My opinion, my personal opinion.
No, I would agree. Well, because wrestling, and we're talking about professional wrestling here, not catch wrestling or that kind of stuff. Like, it's about the ebb and flow. You need to see the counter. You need that to sink in with the audience to say, oh, he found that. Oh, he saw that coming or whatever. If it's too quick, the audience doesn't catch it, and we're talking about live performance here, so it has to be slowed down. So I do agree, it does work a lot better here than in fighting games. Fighting games, unless you're playing it or you're an expert in the fighting game, I usually find that I don't see that someone countered. It just looks like part of the animation, and it's So I would agree with that.
Exception though. King in Tekken 3 actually has like a pose that he'll hold for a split second when he's like prepared to counter, and if they hit you, so like he kind of like holds his hands out like this, and when you attack him, then he'll actually grab whatever. And so like every once in a while they'll do it, but generally no.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that makes sense.
So we have a bunch of Nintendo news, but I think we should probably just put all that at the end for the direct. But we did get. The main headline was that the Switch Online is going to launch on the 18th, which is less than a week away.
Less than possibly a week away. Yeah, and so we get a 7-day free trial with the Switch Online. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Nintendo Direct and everything later on. We'll kind of cover that as our main topic. But I'm glad this is coming out finally. I definitely will be signing up for it. I want to try out the service. It's only $20. So I think it's something that we can try out. We don't have to really. It's not like sinking $50, $60, $100 into something like Amazon Prime or whatever. Like you're only sinking a little bit of money in to try out the service, and if you're playing a lot of multiplayer games, this is really going to help. We'll talk more about that later, though.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Kingdom Hearts VR demo? Because like Square's been doing some weird stuff with VR lately, but like Kingdom Hearts, I've only played like an hour or two of 1 and 2, so I don't really.
I played all of 1. I played some of 2. Whitney's played all of them, so I've all of the console ones, and I don't Personally, I don't think this game lends itself well to VR. I think VR is still the thing everyone's trying to cling on to, because I'm not in the camp that thinks that it's a fad, that it's going to go away. I think that the pricing is low enough now, or it will be low enough in the next couple of years, that more people will be playing it. That being said, I don't think every game lends itself to VR. It's not going to be a bad thing playing it, but I personally don't think that this is going to be groundbreaking in VR. I mean, some people may like it because it's immersive, but I'll say I can go onto the PlayStation VR and I can turn on theater mode in PlayStation VR, and I can just watch, and I can play with the VR, like, and be immersed. Headset, headphones, watch the game. It doesn't have to be built for VR. You can do that, and I think you're going to get something similar when it comes to this. You may get, of course, better 3D. You're going to be able to move your head. 3D depth of field is going to be better, but is that really what Kingdom Hearts needs?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, I meant, yeah, I understand. The answer is no.
Okay.
I don't really think that's necessary. And then one of the other things that concerns me is, like, the bits that I've seen look kind of pretty, but there's a lot of, like, I don't know if it's retro or whatever, but, like, the world feels like a PS2 or PS3 game. There's a lot of, like, invisible walls. I don't know if you played the Cerberus demo.
I didn't.
Okay, but, like, there's anyway, I have concerns.
Yeah,
but it's a demo, and it's something to play.
Sure. And I think that if it gets people to adapt to VR, to adopt it, I should say, if it gets people to adopt the VR, fine, because VR has a lot of really cool things in it that people may have not realized how great they are until they have something like this in their hands. So maybe this is a title that will get more people to buy PlayStation VR. I don't know. Could be.
But I think everybody does need to be playing Holonight.
No, I agree.
It's the Void Heart edition. It's coming to other platforms, because this has been on, like, I think up until September 25th. It's only been on Switch and PC, but this is coming to Xbox and PS4, and I've been playing it on the Switch. I haven't beaten it yet, but my goodness, this game is amazing. Highly recommended.
Yeah,
it is.
I will say I have not played it, but I really want to. It's on my list.
and the other thing is, it's a very cheap game, especially for the amount of content that it gets you. And I was talking to Owen about it, friend of the show, and he said that he doesn't want to sink another 40 hours into this. Honestly, I got my money's worth in the first, like, 2 or 3 hours that I played, just going up to the first boss and beating the first boss, because it is a very unique experience that I hadn't found any other place. And so I would recommend pretty much anybody pick that up.
I think that especially if you're a fan of old school platformers, this is totally up your alley, and I don't know why you're not playing it if you are a fan of that. I think that I'm glad that these games are still selling as well as they are. I mean, they're not selling, of course, in AAA numbers, but I think they're selling well enough to warrant these, to show that these are viable still in this day and age, which is pretty cool. Which is pretty cool.
Another thing about it is that Team Cherry is doing basically the same thing as Yacht Club did with Shovel Knight. This is called the Void Heart edition, and it's got, like, 3 different expansions. So it's a whole lot of fun in there.
Yeah.
So Belgium, and we reported this a couple of weeks ago, that some of the European countries have declared that loot boxes are gambling, and Belgium in particular was like, okay, we want none of that. So Counter-Strike Go, Overwatch, and somebody else, like, complied with it. And I mean, Overwatch honestly didn't have to, because you can actually see what's coming up next, so it's not gambling. But they did it anyway, just to, be on the good side of Belgium or whatever. And EA's like, no, we're gonna fight you on this. And so they left it in, and they're, like, challenging it in court, and because, I mean, microtransactions make up 2/3 of their revenue. So I guess,
I mean, that's
where the fuck. I don't know what their income is from Belgium, but, like, really?
I don't know about Belgium, but I know that, for instance, Call of Duty, I don't know if you saw this number recently, Call of Duty, the last Call of Duty game, or may have been the last couple of Call of Duty games, cumulatively in the microtransactions have made more money than every other game combined. Not Call of Duty games, all other games that sold, I think within the last 10 years. If you get every single one of those games, combine them all together, that's how much they still made more than that. Similarly, we talked about Fortnite in regards to microtransactions in Fortnite and the loot boxes, or not really loot boxes of Fortnite, but microtransactions in Fortnite.
Yeah.
And the average person, this was a couple months ago, the average person playing $87 in Fortnite. So you're paying more than you would for a full game for what, the different skins and different dances, which I don't have a problem with because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
When it comes to loot boxes, I have a problem with that, and there are games like Battlefront 2 and others that I like playing. I'm not going to pay any money for loot boxes in them because I don't agree with the principle, and I feel dirty buying games with loot boxes. Microtransactions are a different story. Loot boxes specifically, I have a problem with unless you're completely free to play, like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone. Then it's based off that. You get however much you put in. It's not pay to win because it's still random. I think there's balance involved in that, but I do think that I think loot boxes have run amok, and I'm glad Belgium's trying to crack down, but EA's making too much money. They're not going to back down.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to stop.
So one of the things that they could be doing to make money is they could be re-releasing Kingdoms of Amalur. Because we talked about this last week, is it Kingdoms of Amalur has been picked up by THQ Nordic.
Yes.
But apparently EA still has the publishing rights to the original game. So we don't. I mean, there's not really news on it. It's just kind of this is where this thing is stuck. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that, though, is that means that, unless I'm mistaken, that they could have done a remaster and put that out. I would have absolutely bought that again.
I would have loved that. You know what? I would have loved a remaster. I love a definitive edition because there's DLC content that's on that PS3, and we're not going to have access to it. I mean, this is lost to the ages, if you will. It's the same thing that we talked about when it came to, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here, but it's the same thing we talked about when we talked about Xbox shutting down servers when it came to Xbox Live, the original OG Xbox. Xbox the first, if you will. They shut down the servers to that, and as soon as that happened, people lost, if they didn't have it already downloaded, they lost access to all of that extra content. It's going to happen with, thankfully, it seems like it's not happening completely with the Xbox 360, but you're still seeing that with some DLC, where a game will be backwards compatible, but its DLC will not be. So we've still seen that, still a problem. I think we're moving towards a positive future. But yeah, I don't know. To me, Kingdoms of Amalur is definitely one that should be resurrected. And now, unfortunately, you're going to have two companies battling out what can happen with release. You know what's happened with that with GoldenEye, Nintendo and Rare. Mm-hmm. If you can't come to a decision on it, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I think is unfortunate, because I love GoldenEye.
Two-step verification,
basically. And they have to cooperate. So if they want to make money, they could do this, and they could make more money. I think Kingdoms of Amalur is an intellectual property that can do that.
Publishing.
For publishing, I think so. I think it's one that could be making some decent money. I think, especially with a remaster definitive edition, and make sure the price point's like $40. If you do that, if you charge $60, you may not get it. Charge $40, you're gonna get so much more money coming in there for that remaster.
And there's a lot of people who feel like they kind of missed out because, like, okay, I would have bought the Mass Effect trilogy if that had been re-released on PS4.
Yeah.
We never got that. But things that are coming, you have some news there.
I do have some news into things that are coming, but it doesn't have anything to do with video games. If you're talking about the segue I'm talking about, Alan Wake, one of my favorite games. We're going to be getting an Alan Wake TV series, which I think lends itself very well, considering the Alan Wake is so inspired by things like Twin Peaks and other episodic shows. I think this is totally going to lend itself very well to being able to being a TV show. I think it would lend itself much better than a movie, because this needs to be episodic. Alan Wake is episodic. It feels like you're playing a TV show, and I think it would totally work in this. Unfortunately, I don't see exactly who is adapting it. Maybe I'm missing that here. Or I should say, what studio or what platform. I didn't see that in anything. And what I mean by that is this going to be picked up by Netflix, by Amazon? Did you see that in any press release? Because I didn't.
I don't believe so. We have the producers. I don't see anything on the studio.
Which is okay, because essentially, if they're able to develop this independently and then shop it around through studios, that means there's less meddling with when it comes to the creative aspect of the art, right? So you're not going to have as many higher up producers saying it has to be 12 episodes, has to be 20 episodes, whatever. Similar to how BBC, I think we talked about this before, BBC, when they order more episodes of a show, they're like, hey, we want more IT crowd. And then the producers come back and they go, I've got 6 episodes for you. Yeah. Instead of where it is in America, where they come to an animation's house or whatever and say, I need 22 episodes of this show, which is just not conducive. But I'm happy that it's going to be on there. I love Alan Wake. I think that it's a completely underrated video game. And
it's also something that has been it's a niche game that is exclusive to a single platform. Yeah. And that's kind of rough.
Unfortunately, exclusive to a single platform to the Xbox. Well, I guess you could play it with PC as well, but still a little. I think that also the use of suspense and the episodic storytelling and the mystery and being able to kind of unravel what's really happening and some decent twists involved, which you don't. I would put the twists involved in this game similar to that of Dead Space and those kind of games, where as soon as you realize what's happening, you're like, oh, this changes everything, and then when you replay it, then you see so much more that you didn't see before. Interesting. I completely love it, though. I recommend this, and I'm really glad this is going to be brought to more people, gamers and non-gamers, that can enjoy it. So it's really cool. So that's it for the main news this week. Let us know in the comments what you think about that, and we'll tell you what we think about when you think about what we think about.
Yeah, that.
Have fun.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.